Well, hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty end flat after a range-bound session. Financial stocks underperform. Mid-caps fare better than blue chips, with the index gaining close to 200 points. Swiss banking giant UBS completes the takeover of crisis-hit Credit Suisse. This is the biggest bank merger since the 2008 financial crisis. The deal brings to an end the once 70-year independent existence of Credit Suisse. Government officials are looking into reports of an alleged data leak from Cowin COVID vaccination portal. Reports indicate a bot on Telegram Messenger is churning out personal details based on registered mobile number. Government sources say different departments are verifying the reports, and there is no evidence of hacking so far. Government tweaks the production-linked incentive scheme for semiconductors, allows individual applicants and removes the 45-day window. Union Cabinet will vet and approve all the applicants. Go First lenders kickstart the resolution process, replace the NCLT-appointed resolution professional Abhilash Lal with EY's Shailendra Ajmera. Lenders are yet to take a call on the airline's interim financing demand of 200 crores. The Rakesh Gangwal family is likely to offload 5 to 8% stake in Indigo parent Interglobe via a block deal in the month of July. Sources tell CNBC Avas that the Gangwal family is looking to sell stake worth up to 7,500 crore rupees. The stock fell close to 3% in intraday trade. Vedanta invites expressions of interest to restart activities at its Sterlite copper smelter plant in Tuticorin. The plant has been closed for over 5 years now after police opened fire at those protesting a proposed expansion of the plant, killing 13 people and injuring over 100. Gujarat braces for Cyclone Biparjoy. Evacuations begin in coastal areas of Saurashtra and Kutch after it intensifies into a very severe cyclonic storm. Landfall is likely on the 15th of June. Well, straight to the day's market action now. Market ended near the flat line as financials continued to underperform. Sensex ended flat, but with a slight positive bias. Nifty Bank ended mildly in the red, but mid-caps outperformed. That index ended over 0.5% in the green. Prashant Nair is here joining us now with a quick wrap of the day's market action. Prashant.
Well, for large cap indices, it was a quiet day, quiet start of the week, but there was no stopping the mid and the small cap part of the market, which kind of took off from last Wednesday. Remember, last Thursday and Friday, we had a bit of a pullback, 1.5% in that range. But today, I mean, there was little evidence of that. We kind of started higher, at least in the broader markets, and kept going higher through the course of the day. I'll get to stocks in just a bit. Banks, the bank index was absolutely flat. Almost 1% gain on the small cap index, a little less than, on the mid cap index as well. Large cap gainers coming through in names like BPCL, HCL Tech and Infosys. So, I mean, it was a fair mix. There were stocks lower as well, but nothing large, limited to about 1.5% cuts on the Nifty stocks. Now we come to the broader markets. Advanced decline was not outrageously positive. Some 200 stocks separated gainers and losers, but the list of volume-led gainers was much longer as compared to stocks which went down on volumes, and that has been true for many, many days now. So consider these stocks: Suzlon, Reliance Power, KPI Green. I mean, big volumes, big gains. Nuclear software continues to do very well. CMS Info lost 6% yesterday, came back about 5% today. The textile companies have been rallying: Gokuldas, Himmat Singka, Indocount, auto anch names, Jai Bharat Maruti, Lumax Tech, shipbuilders like Cochin, Garden Reach are continuing to rise. And there was a Newland Laboratories which was higher as well. There were losers as well, but as I said, the list of stocks which went down in volumes is shorter. Go Colors, SRF, Greenlam, KRBL, Triveni Turbines, a pre-call, all cargo, perhaps is what I want to put out in terms of what was down today in the broader markets. Now, the Nifty has not done very much today. The supports for the Nifty come in around the 18,500 zone, which is around 100 points away from where we left off. And there are event risks this week from global markets. You've got many big global central bank meetings. The biggest, of course, is the FOMC. Tomorrow we get the CPI numbers out of the US, and then on Wednesday we get the US Fed decision, which we react to on Thursday morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Prashant, for that. Now on to all the action coming in from the crude markets. Oil prices continue to fall for the second week in a row ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve meeting. Investors are trying to get a sense of the Fed's appetite for rate hikes. Concerns over China's fuel demand growth and rising Russian crude supplies weighed on sentiment as well. Well, back home, the government is expected to release retail inflation data for May and the industrial output data for the month of April. Lata Venkatesh joins us now. Lata, tell us, what can we expect?
Oh, absolutely. In the first place, look at the base. I mean, the base was 7.04. That itself is pulling down the inflation. If it does come at 4.35, it would be a 20-month low. So it's a damn good number. The other reason why 4.35 would be good is, if you looked at the Reserve Bank forecast, the Reserve Bank gave us April, May, June forecast at 4.6. So if you derive, they are assuming a 4.4. And therefore, 4.35, 4.4 would be a damn good number. Anything lower than that, of course, will mean even better news. Now, the point to watch out for will be core. Core for CPI may not fall as much as it fell in previous months. It's expected to come in at about 5.3 compared to 5.2 the previous month. Again, base plays a role, but more importantly, there have been some increases. Therefore, we should watch out for the core prices as well. What are the other things we would watch out for? Cereals. There has already been a rise in rice prices, so that would be watched out. And the positive to counter it is veggies. Veggies usually become expensive in May. What we hear is that it's not become that expensive, and I can vouch for it a wee bit. So that would be the positive. These are the numbers you would watch out for. I mean, economists have built their assumptions on these numbers. Let's see how much of it comes. The more important number for me this time is the IIP number, simply because there has been a slowing that one saw in March itself. So you would worry. On first sight, this 1.3, you shouldn't be worrying, because look at the year ago number, 6.7. So base effect is going to mean that the IIP number won't be very good. But there are worries over there as well. You would very closely watch out for the consumer durable and non-durable numbers. The fear is it can be even worse than 1.3, because the April imports and exports were lower. If imports are lower, means you're producing less. That's why you're importing less inputs. Exports, again, goes directly into the calculation of the IIP. So these would be a bit of worry. But there is the sign of hope over there is rural demand apparently has improved. So that would mean consumer non-durables will do well. These are the various parameters we would watch out.
Right, Lata, thanks a lot for that. Now, speaking of macros, the Indian government is weighing a proposal to cut the number of GDP estimates it releases annually. Currently, the government releases 6 annual GDP estimates and is mulling a proposal to cut that to 4 releases. Several economists and market watchers have said that multiple revisions to the data makes things more confusing. Well, moving ahead in international news, Swiss bank UBS has formally completed the takeover of Credit Suisse. The group will now manage UBS and Credit Suisse as separate banks for the short term. The takeover will also enlarge UBS's balance sheet to more than $1 trillion and boost its workforce to 120,000 employees. In a statement, UBS Group CEO Sergio Ermotti said that this takeover will not compromise on the company's strong culture and conservative risk approach. Here's that story.
UBS has completed its takeover of rival Credit Suisse. It comes as the company is reportedly set to impose stringent restrictions on Credit Suisse bankers. According to sources speaking with the Financial Times, UBS executives have drawn up nearly 24 red lines outlining prohibited activities for Credit Suisse staffers, including a ban on new clients from high-risk countries and launching new products without approval from UBS managers. UBS management have imposed these red lines, and it tells you that there is a big concern both internally and to the external world that some of this toxic culture, so to speak, that prevailed at Credit Suisse might get imported into UBS. This is UBS's way of saying no.
Meanwhile, UBS has appointed Mihir Doshi as the India head of the company. Doshi joined Credit Suisse in 2006. Well, more action back home. Multiple reports have flagged an alleged data breach of Cowin vaccination data. The reports have indicated that a bot on Telegram has been giving out personal details based on the registered mobile number. However, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the government officials are looking into these reports and so far have not found any evidence of unauthorized access or hacking so far. Parikshit Luthra is standing by with more details. Parikshit, tell us, what are you picking up?
Well, ever since these reports came out on social media, the government, the Health Ministry, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, they've been rather active. They have been going through these reports. Multiple agencies are looking into that. What we're learning so far from government is that there has been no unauthorized access or hacking of the Cowin portal, and there is no evidence of the same as yet. However, these allegations on social media, these screenshots that are doing the rounds are being investigated in greater detail. What some of our sources also point out that these screenshots or that information that you're seeing on social media has certain discrepancies, and the Cowin app does not function in the same manner. But a possible breach is not being ruled out completely. There will be a detailed investigation that will be carried out by relevant authorities over the next few days, and possibly then we can find a comprehensive statement. But for the moment, the sources in the government saying they've not come across any evidence of an unauthorized hack as yet.
Right, Parikshit, thanks a lot for that update. Now, Centre has appointed Amit Agarwal as the new CEO of the Unique Identification Authority of India. Agarwal is a 1993 batch IAS officer of the Chhattisgarh cadre and will succeed Saurabh Garg, who held the position of the CEO for a little over 2 years. He's also the additional secretary of Ministry of Electronics and IT. Well, the government has tweaked the production-linked incentive scheme for semiconductors, allowing individual applicants and, in fact, has made 4 changes to be specific. The first is that under the earlier version, there was a minimum requirement of 2 applicants. Now that has been done away with, so even a single applicant can come forth and that will be considered. The second is that there was initially a 45-day window within which the application had to be made. No longer. That window is now will continue indefinitely. That's at least the government's position. The third is that earlier, MeitY could place a proposal for approval before the cabinet only with the recommendation of the nodal committee, the nodal agency within MeitY. That requirement has been dispensed with. MeitY can now directly place an application for approval before the cabinet. Now, these 3 changes, importantly, are for fabs as well as for display fabs. Now, for the other players in the ecosystem, whether that's OTMP, OSAT, or compound semiconductors, for them, there was initially a process wherein a competent agency being either a secretary of MeitY or the minister of Ministry of Electronics and IT would be the one authorizing and approving an application. Now, that requirement has been dispensed with, subject to what the incentive sought is. This application can, in fact, go ahead and be processed directly by the Union Cabinet. Again, indefinitely, no short window there for this scheme. So that important critical change is those, the government hoping that this will facilitate more players from the semiconductor ecosystem joining the India bandwagon. But speaking of the India bandwagon, India's power demand has been hitting a new high. Government has allowed coal-based power plants to extend operations by at least 3 months. India consumes 223 gigawatts of electricity on the 9th of June, which was a record high. With a heat wave affecting large parts of the country, power consumption is on the rise. Government expects peak power demand to hit 230 gigawatts. Well, the latest now in the Go First insolvency case, the Committee of Creditors, which was formed after the airline was admitted into the bankruptcy. First meeting was held last Friday to take stock of the situation. CNBC-TV18 learnt that they have made some key appointments to kickstart the resolution process. Ritu Singh now joins us. Ritu, tell us, what are you picking up?
Well, the Go First Committee of Creditors has made some key appointments to kickstart the resolution process of the airline, and the most important one of these is replacing the resolution professional. Now, remember, the NCLT had appointed Alvarez and Marcel's Abhilash Lal as the interim resolution professional. But in its very first Committee of Creditors meeting, the lenders have chosen to elect EY Shailendra Ajmera as the resolution professional who will be running the airline as long as it remains under the IBC. The COC has also elected EY or Ernst & Young as the process advisor and J. Sagar Associates as the legal counsel to the lenders in the process. Now, as far as the important matter of interim financing is concerned, remember, we had reported that Go First had sought a little over 200 crores from its lenders as interim financing. On that, the discussions are still on, but lenders want some comfort from the DGCA that there will be regulatory support for the airline. So that matter is still up, for discussion among the lenders. As far as the revival itself is concerned, it's not just the financing. Go First is facing, various challenges from its lessors who want to deregister the aircraft or restrain Go First from using them, and that matter is still pending in court. So we'll have to see how that progresses. As far as the dues are concerned, to the banks alone, there are dues of about 6,500 crores in Deutsche Bank, Central Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, IDBI Bank. These are some of the key lenders that are involved.
Right, Ritu, thanks a lot for that. Now, staying with the aviation space, shares of Interglobe Aviation fell over 2% after CNBC Awaz learnt from sources that the Gangwal family is looking to sell another 5 to 8% stake in the airline. Now, the block deal could be worth between 5,000 to 7,500 crore rupees. The Gangwal family has been steadily reducing their stake in the airline as announced. Yatin Mota is joining us now with more details. Yatin.
Well, sources to CNBC Awaz indicate that the Gangwal family is looking to once again sell their shares in Interglobe Aviation. Remember, before this, in two tranches, the Gangwal family has sold close to 6.8% stake. And if sources were to be believed, this time the Gangwal family would be willing to sell more stake, given the fact that the share price of Interglobe Aviation has risen by nearly 30% in the last 3 months, owing to the tailwinds of lower crude prices as well as bankruptcy surrounding Go Air. Now, if you look at the source-based information that we are gathering, Gangwal family would be looking to sell 5 to 8% stake, which is worth close to 5,000 to 7,500 crores at current market price. And the brokerages have started roadshows in order to gauge the demand from the buy side, which is essentially mutual funds and FIIs. So far, the feedback has been good. But the last tranche which the Gangwal family sold in Interglobe Aviation was somewhere around 15th of February 2023, and the 150-day lock-in for the shares of the Gangwal family opens on July 15. So one month from here on, there could be a large transaction which one can expect in the Interglobe Aviation.
Well, here's a quick look at some of the other headlines that we're tracking. Shares of Go Fashion declined by 5% after Sequoia Capital sold more than 10% stake in the company. Sources say that the block deal happened at a price of 1,136 rupees per share. Sequoia is likely to have raised more than 600 crore rupees from the stake sale. TVS Motor is looking to acquire the remaining 25% stake in Swiss e-mobility group SEMG. TVS Motors will pay 180 crore rupees to acquire the stake. That's not all. TVS Motors' financing arm, TVS Credit, got close to 500 crore rupees from Premji Invest. The United States Food and Drug Administration will begin the inspection of Gland Pharma's Hyderabad facility, which makes finished product injectables, on Thursday. Gland Pharma confirmed that this development to CNBC-TV18. The inspection is being conducted for the current good manufacturing practices and pre-approvals. Cyclone Biparjoy has developed into an extremely severe cyclonic storm and is likely to make landfall along the Saurashtra-Kutch coast on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a high-level meeting today to review the preparedness as evacuation in the coastal districts of Gujarat have begun. The Gujarat government has declared holidays for schools in coastal Kutch, Jamnagar and 2 other districts in the Saurashtra region as a precautionary measure. The NDRF and SDRF teams have been deployed. The India Met Department has issued a red alert for parts of West Gujarat, including the Kutchni region.
While, from today evening, it will also start slightly weakening, and when it will cross, it will be around, it will be again very severe cyclonic storm with a wind speed of 125 kilometer to 135 kilometer, gusting to 150 kilometer.
Well, with that, it's time now to slip into a very short break. But up next, Vedanta has invited expressions of interest to restart activities at its Sterlite copper plant in Tuticorin. More on that when we come back. Welcome back. Now, Vedanta has invited expressions of interest to restart activities at its Sterlite copper smelter facility in Tuticorin. Now, the company has tried to sell this plant multiple times in the last 5 years. Remember, the plant has been closed since 2018 after police opened fire at those protesting a proposed expansion of this very facility. Jude Sanith now joins us with more details. Jude, tell us, what are the details that you're picking up?
Well, an expression of interest by Vedanta and Sterlite Copper in several major dailies today said that the company was looking out for expressions of interest pertaining to taking over and eventually restarting, quote-unquote, that controversial copper smelter in Tuticorin, run, of course, by Sterlite Copper. The EOI says that interested parties should be in a position to employ over 4,000 people in and around the Tuticorin area. Now, incidentally enough, sources from Sterlite Copper tell me that it is crucial that these EOIs are secured at the moment, since restoring and restarting the plant is bound to be an extremely significant activity, given that it has been shut for close to 5 years. And in fact, these activities will be undertaken in the run-up to the eventual sale of the plant that Sterlite Copper hopes to achieve in the near future. Now, incidentally, the plant has been shut for 5 years, yes, but the Supreme Court has allowed maintenance and upkeep activity at the plant itself, since there are several key materials and machinery there that would have suffered some sort of some difficulties in the 5 years owing to the continued closure of the plant. Incidentally, that EOI expression, as far as maintenance and upkeep and restart, includes safety assessments, OEM assessments, building, repair and certification of existing plant machinery. Remember, Sterlite Copper was shut ever since 2018, in the aftermath of those controversial protests which led to the killing of 13 people in police firing at the plant. Ever since, the case has been ongoing, but the court has allowed maintenance and upkeep of the plant itself, although Vedanta did say late last year that it was open and actively considering selling the plant itself. So even as maintenance and upkeep activity is underway, Vedanta has issued an EOI for what it hopes will be the eventual sale of this controversy-ridden copper smelter.
Right, Jude, thanks a lot for that. Here's a quick look at some of the other headlines that we're tracking. The Home Ministry has set up a governor-led committee with the representation from several tribal groups to facilitate the peacemaking process in Manipur. The situation in the violence-marred state remains tense. The statewide internet ban has also been extended till 15th of June. NCP patriarch Sharad Pawar has appointed Lok Sabha MP Supriya Sule, who also happens to be his daughter, and Rajya Sabha MP Praful Patel as working presidents of the party. This raised speculation over Ajit Pawar, who has, as per reports, not happy about this decision. Sule has, however, dismissed the reports as speculation. India and UAE held their first joint committee meeting under the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that the RBI and the UAE Central Bank are in active dialogue for rupee-dirham trade. He also said that talks were progressing at a fast pace. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson stepped down as a Member of Parliament over the weekend. Johnson claimed that he had received a report from the Privileges Committee on whether he had misled the Parliament on the lockdown parties at 10 Downing Street. Johnson said that the committee had still not produced a shred of evidence that he knowingly or recklessly misled the House of Commons. Former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has died at the age of 86. He had been suffering from health-related issues with repeated hospitalizations since September of 2020. The controversial media mogul served as the nation's Prime Minister thrice over a period of 9 years. His party is a junior partner in the Meloni government. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. The news and updates continue on the other side.